One Zambia, One Nation. Good evening and welcome to ZNBC News on TV1. I'm Namakau Mukelabai, and our sign language interpreter this evening is Isabel Banda. Here are our headlines. President Edgar Lungu says the HIV test and treatment program that was launched last year has started bearing fruit. Government has banned imports of risk foods from South Africa. The Road Development Agency says the completion of the Mwinilunga-Jimbe Road in Northwestern Province is expected to boost trade in the SADC region. And the Under-17 national team coach, Isaac Mwaba, has selected a 32-member preliminary team ahead of the 5 national regional tournament. President Edgar Lungu says the HIV test and treatment program that was launched last year has started bearing fruit. President Lungu says the policy has been well received. He said this has resulted in more people knowing their HIV status and accessing medication. The president said this when Executive Director Under Secretary General of UNAIDS, Michelle Sibide, said paid a courtesy call on him at State House.
Thank you so much for
our regional director.
How are you? Such a pleasure.
Hello, good afternoon. How are you? Her luggage didn't come, so you see she went to
Zambia.
I think we treat you well. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad you brought him. Oh, yes. I'm so happy I brought her back together again. Yes, sir.
There's nothing magical or mystical about health. I think we should open up to the truth.
Yeah.
And the state of wellness of the nation depends on the health of individuals. So if we are going to mystify some ailments and say, well, this one is a closed one, we should talk about it. We risk losing the most productive resource that we have, which is human beings and so on. It's really the youth.
Yes.
Girls and boys, we should open up to telling them the right thing and show them that there is nothing ungodly about being sick.
I agree.
When you're sick, you're sick.
You're sick, you're sick.
And come out in the open instead of trying to cover up and end up in the coffin. We should be able to say AIDS, malaria, tuberculosis, all these challenges we face in our health sector. Things we can deal with before we are resolved to confront them realistically as opposed to misfinding them. She knows much better about it.
Speaking earlier, Mr. Sidibe said Zambia is a role model in the fight against HIV and AIDS in Africa. He praised President Lungu for making the decision to test and treat. Mr. Sidibe encouraged the head of state not to only provide leadership in Zambia, but Africa as a whole.
I was discussing with your minister, was saying that the president doesn't want 95, president wants 100 people. He wants any Zambian to have access to social services. So for me, unless we pay attention to those inequities, the stability will be not there, because the fragility of a society is not so much about fragility of a country or the state, it's the fragility of communities, their vulnerabilities, who are sometimes left behind and we don't pay attention, is growing and it become unequal. But I'm happy to be with you here, and I want to say thank you for coming in the General Assembly. You have been clearly demonstrating that is important for those leaders to really go for ending this epidemic.
Meanwhile, the UNAIDS has urged other countries to emulate President Edgar Lungu's decision to introduce routine counseling and testing for HIV, the virus that causes AIDS. Mr. Sidibe says the stance taken by Zambia is the only sure way of curbing the virus. He has also assured that the UNAIDS will continue to work with Zambia in fighting the pandemic. The UNAIDS Executive Director was speaking during the signing of the Standard Basic Host Agreement between Zambia and UNAIDS at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Lusaka today. And Foreign Affairs Minister Joe Malanji said government appreciates the support from UNAIDS.
With Her Excellency Mother Rogan will make sure that you see every piece of Zambia through her experience.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Honorable.
Because there had always been this stigma.
Yeah.
If I go out, make a pronouncement, then what? You know that dying with a stigma is not a solution.
No.
It is better to come out.
Yes.
You get a treatment and you have more years on your life.
Yes.
So basically the government is actually doing the best that it can to sensitize our people to make sure that there is test and treatment.
Yeah.
That is the only route that we go that can help our people, because it's a different situation when you have no treatment.
You can see the difference. We know today when you're tested and put on treatment, you can reduce the transmission by 96%, which means that you're already controlling the reservoir in your body to transmit the disease. Of course, I want to also say that we are launching with Zambia this prevention coalition with First Lady and civil society and others to make it a big coalition worldwide, because we don't want to lose those young adolescent girls. We want young people to be equipped with information. Sexuality education is critical to protect.
Now, government has banned imports of risk foods from South Africa, which include processed meats, vegetables, and other dairy products. Minister of Health, Chitali Chilufya, has announced at a media briefing in Lusaka today. Dr. Chilufya said the owners of the South African supermarkets, as well as other stores, have been directed to cooperate with the Ministry of Health to remove from the shelves the affected products. This comes in the backdrop of confirmed reports that some processed meat products from South Africa are contaminated with Listeria bacteria, which has affected over 900 people in that country.
The Zambian government, through the Ministry of Health, has put up the following interventions. One, we've constituted a team of experts led and coordinated by the Zambia National Public Health Institute to urgently address the concerns of listeriosis in the country, because Zambia imports a lot of food products listed as risky from South Africa. We have imposed an immediate ban on imports of risky foods, including processed meats, dairy products, vegetables, and fruits from South Africa. The points of entry have been instructed to seize all suspected risky products. All chief executive officers of major chain stores in Zambia, that includes Pick and Pay and ShopRite, have been engaged and directed to cooperate with health inspectors in the removal and disposal of the risk products from their shelves and stores.
The South African government has also confirmed that Enterprise Foods, whose meat processing plant is in the Limpopo region, is the source of Listeria bacteria. And the Ministry of Agriculture has impounded and destroyed over 4.3 tons of illegally imported Irish potatoes in Livingston, belonging to a named popular food chain store. The impounded potatoes are valued at 23,000 kwacha. The Zambia Agricultural Research Institute Plant Health Inspector Martin Siazemo has also told Nais in Livingston that the potatoes imported from South Africa did not have a laboratory analysis certificate as required by law. Details in the following report.
Barely 2 months have passed since an activity like this one happened. Ministry of Agriculture in Livingstone has again destroyed over 500 by 7 kg bags of Irish potatoes belonging to a well-known food chain store based in Lusaka. The potatoes were confiscated because they were not accompanied by a laboratory analysis certificate, which is one of the requirements for importing Irish potatoes from South Africa. Plant Health Inspector under Zambia Agriculture Research Institute in Livingstone, Martin Siazemo, said the department is alert to prevent the introduction of certain pests in potatoes found in some parts of South Africa.
As Plant Quarantine and Phytosanitary Service, our core mandate, as enshrined in the Plant Pests and Diseases Act, Cap 233 of the laws of Zambia, is to prevent introduction and spread of plant pests into our country. And what we've just done today is to destroy potatoes that were imported from South Africa without meeting all the plant import conditions that were firstly given to this particular importer, which is a well-known Chinese store. You see, with the potatoes that are coming from South Africa, we're aware of 3 plant pests, namely white disease of potato, the yellow cyst nematode, and the stem and bud earworm. So these pests occur in South Africa, and we don't have them in Zambia at the moment. And when we put these conditions, we're actually trying to prevent introduction of these pests into our country.
The client has suffered loss of over 20,000 kwacha through this destruction and has been fined a penalty for violating the provisions of the Plant Pests and Diseases Act, Cap 233 of the laws of Zambia. Mr. Siazemo has advised import traders to always comply with the conditions of the import permit to avoid such kind of consequences.
What we've just done, the destruction of these potatoes, is an example and a warning to everyone to say there's a need for them to always adhere to the conditions before they bring in these agricultural products. We will not relent. We've done it before and we'll continue to do it until people start to adhere to conditions that they are given.
Well, in as much as this is a disturbing sight, import traders involved in agricultural products should always abide by the provisions of the law so as to safeguard Zambia's own agricultural production. Reporting in Livingstone, I'm Priska Kabwenyirenda.
We take our first commercial break. To stay with us. Welcome back. The Road Development Agency, RDA, says the completion of the Mwinilunga Jimbe Road in Northwestern Province is expected to boost trade in the SADC region. RDA Board Chairperson Samuel Mukopa says the Mwinilunga Jimbe Road is important because it connects Southern African countries and gives them an opportunity to trade amongst themselves. Speaking when he inspected works by Freka Mining, a local contractor working on the road in Ikelengi district, Mr. Mukopa said government is committed to opening up Zambia to regional trade. More in the following report.
This is the current state of the Mwinilunga Jimbe Road in the Northwestern Province. The road is a vital international link for Zambia. The Mwinilunga Jimbe Road also offers a shorter route to the Atlantic Ocean through the Angolan port of Lobito. However, the over 100 kilometers long road is in a bad state. But the good news is that a local contractor, Freka Mining, has commenced initial works to tar the full stretch of the road.
But we have completed bush clearing, so we have done 100%. And also we have also done 50% gravelling. Yes, sir. We are remaining with the 7 kilometers to reach
Road Development Agency Board Chairperson Samuel Mukopa knows the economic value this road has, not only for Zambia, but the whole Southern African region as a whole.
It opens into the Republic of Angola. The commitment to open Zambia to outside by our government can't be doubted. I think a little while ago we were showing how we are going to open into Angola again from the other end in Western Province through Kalabo, the Kalongola Road. And this is another very serious entry point.
And the people of Ikelengi are happy that finally they will have a third road.
When the
road was bad, we used to walk because there used to be no traffic. This road means a lot to us in Kereng because this is the area for pineapple production where we farm pineapple at large scale. And this road has been a hindrance to the production of pineapple.
Freka Mining has 3 years to tar the road under a contract worth $104 million United States dollars. The contract also includes construction of township roads in both Ikeleng and Mwinilunga district. Paul Shalala, ZNBC News in Ikeleng district, Northwestern Province.
Government says it has made strides in the construction and rehabilitating of small and medium dams across the country. Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Water Development, Sanitation and Environmental Protection, Ed Chomba, says the water harvesting project is already yielding results and that a legal framework has already been put in place. Dr. Chomba says Chibalashi Dam in Wapula Province, which has been rehabilitated, is now in operation and government is collecting 3 million litres of water. He says dams in northwestern, Copperbelt and eastern provinces have been rehabilitated and constructed are in operation now.
Government has made water supply and sanitation and water resource development respectively as a priority, which talks about we need to manage the water in terms of harvesting, equitable distribution, and also making sure that people use it in the energy, water, food nexus. So, 7th National Development Plan and Master Plan is a legal framework, and it is, if you like, lack of a better word, it is also, a strategy to make sure we harness the water harvesting, more especially for this season.
Chieftainess Mungule of the Lengia-speaking people of Chibombo district has thanked government for development projects being implemented in her chiefdom. Speaking when Central Province Permanent Secretary Chan Nakabwe paid a courtesy call at her palace, Chieftainess Mungule said the head of state has clearly demonstrated his willingness to develop every corner of the country, including places where he was not voted for. And Chieftainess Mungule has called on all headmen in her chiefdom not to entertain tribal politics. She said this through Headman Chibosha, KB Kapopo. And Mr. Chanda said government values the contribution of chiefs to national development. Mr. Chanda also said that President Lungu wants to work with all traditional leaders to unite the country and take development to every corner of the country. Mr. Chanda, who is also Presidential Empowerment Initiative patron, handed over 5,000 blocks and 200 pockets of cement to the chieftainess that she had asked from the head of state towards the construction of a multi-purpose hall for the chiefdom.
Thank you, Tuarumba.
For what you have done. In fact, the whole chiefdom is just smiling with this project that with the blocks and the cement that you brought.
It's not me, it's the president.
The president, yes.
Through me as a patron, he's sending me.
Yes, so we are very happy. We are very happy about what you have done, and let's continue. I hope you continue helping us as you have just said. But as you said, we also have some problems. Yes, political problems, they are there. Okay. So I was just trying to enlighten you, but we'll tell you more when you go into the meeting. When the president came here, just after 4 days, the other political party promised also to make a cut-off score, which we did not accept ourselves.
And the leadership of His Excellency the President is anchored on the traditional leadership, because he wants to work with you, traditional leadership.
Our president,
this is why in your chiefdom we want to work with every village headman. In order to bring development.
kwamba nani milimo yepanemo.
Because we this time there's no politics.
Ayo chino chinditako politics.
We want to bring development. So we want each and every headman in your chiefdom to work with the government of the day. Those who are holding political positions, we are discouraging because we want them to work with government of the day.
Now, the Patriotic Front says it is saddened that some political parties, including the United Party for National Development, met in Ghana to adopt a common constitution that will allegedly support and promote gay rights in Africa. Patriotic Front Media Director Sandy Chanda says the UPND delegation included their chairperson for international relations, Mulondwe Muzungu, and party spokesperson Charles Kakoma. Mr. Chanda has told ZNBC News in a statement that the UPND and its partners appended their signatures to adopt the rights of homosexuals, which include lesbians, gay, bisexual, non-binary and intersex relations, whom they classified as marginalized. The PF Media Director says the same gathering was allegedly used to discredit Zambia's image and that of the Patriotic Front government, as covered in some sections of the media. Mr. Chanda has advised the African Liberal Network that the Patriotic Front shall not be lectured to by a club with liberal values and agendas that are at crossroads with the core values and cultures of Zambians. But the UPND has distanced itself from Mr. Chanda's allegations, calling them propaganda. And UPND Secretary General Stephen Katulka has told ZNBC News in a telephone interview that his party does not subscribe to homosexuality. He challenged the PF Media Director to avail the nation with evidence that there was such an undertaking from the UPND. And People's Alliance for Change President Andy Ford Banda, who attended the African Liberal Network ALN meeting, has asked Mr. Chanda to familiarize himself with ALN Constitution and state whether it supports homosexuality. We take another break. We'll be back shortly. You're still watching ZNBC TV Main News. Inspector General of Police Kakoma Kanganja has deployed more police officers in Lusaka's Matera constituency to heighten patrols in the area. Police spokesperson Esther Katongo says this follows recent suspected ritual killings and attacks that occurred in the area. Mrs. Katongo has told ZNBC News in an interview that the police have also engaged members of the public to help with investigations in the matter. Meanwhile, Mrs. Katongo has called on residents in Matero to join the neighborhood watch to further intensify security in the area.
We have continued with patrols, and the Inspector General of Police sent in more officers in the same area to see to it that we increase on the number of officers that are conducting patrols in that area. But what I can say is that we have intensified our patrols, and we are not only patrolling, but we have also brought on board members of the public. The team that was constituted by Police High Command is working hand in hand with members of the public, and this is the reason why you even saw that we are able to make headways in our investigations.
The Policy Monitoring and Research Center, PMRC, says the introduction of the National Health Insurance will ensure all Zambians have access to affordable health care. PMRC Executive Director Bernadette Decker says it is important that Zambians achieve universal health coverage at every stage, with particular emphasis on primary health services. Ms. Decker says currently only 3.9% of Zambians have health insurance cover, while the remaining 96% of the population depends on out-of-pocket payments when accessing health services. She has told ZNBC News in Lusaka that consultations on the National Health Insurance Bill started as early as 2012.
This bill will provide for 100% cover of the population of the people of Zambia to be able to access primary health care to be able to access decent, health care, to access medicines, drugs, to access different health posts, at least that will attend to them in a decent manner. You cannot talk about building up an economy with an unhealthy nation. So for us, our position is that this is a welcome move by government to push forward such a policy.
Nkoloma Ward 1 Councillor Tasila Lungu says a combined team of emergency rescue officers are pumping water out in Lusaka's Kuku compound, which was flooded due to heavy rains. Ms. Lungu says the team comprises officers from the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit, DMMU, and the Lusaka City Council. Merika Chepa now reports.
Over the years, some parts of the country, especially unplanned settlements, have been affected by floods during the rainy season. Kuku compound in Lusaka is one such settlement which has not been spared from this problem.
Then mpezeka kuti mumanzi mpezeka muli tudoro ko mwana ngatwalire
gona mumanzi mu nyumba mumanzi na materesi gona pasi tire bed tingo gona pasi sona kudwala hapa so
batkonzele po nangu chidamu chibanga chishi batuvaya kata bed chidamu.
Nkoloma Ward 1 Councillor Tasila Lungu has good news for the residents.
This problem is being caused by the heavy rains that we had. So this is the lowest point in the ward, as you can see. So we're sucking the water from here. It's going out all the way to Bombay drainage, just to provide some relief in the community. The lasting solution, we have to continue building drainages going forward. But for now, at least we can relieve so that the people, their houses are not in water. Most of the residents have moved out of their homes. So at least I'm sure within the end of the day, some people should be moving back in their houses.
Residents have expressed gratitude for quick response from government.
So pitilize zakazoka kuti wonako so gula nchito kuti vatesele manzi ava kuti apena mwezi unaonse tingakhale kwa bwino mosquito ativuta maskoti kuti luma sinkhala bwino ya.
The residents of Lusaka's Kuku compound are subjected to this kind of environment year in and out, and they are appealing for a lasting solution to this problem. Merika Chepa, ZNBC News, Lusaka.
And Kabwe residents have called on the local authority to quickly address the challenge of drainages in townships and the central business district. The calls come in the wake of floods caused by heavy downpour coupled with poor drainage system in the former mining town. Details are in this report.
Experiencing challenges with the drainage system for some time. The situation has not settled well with the residents, who have called on the local authority to urgently address the situation. Some of the residents talk to share their displeasure at the situation.
So abantu angapitire kucholo kuti wafuna kugula vintu so angagulire kuti so kuseni so break twachula nangu fena umisoma nganda yesomo tule pitatu tingagreni tamuli amenshi fulu nangu nikolera ine kuti yapwa pantu fiko fyonse felesa mumanganda futi amenshi yalereta ukufuma mufishala
indalama tulipira ku kanso bachi sibabwera kwati batutandizeko ise pano tima kenena manzi mu manyumba vakude vimaonongeka maodropo onse anaonongeka so tipepa ku government at least chiteko naise chiteko ma drainage pamankala maningi manzi pana.
Another resident called on the Engineering Institute of Zambia to offer assistance on the construction of the drainage system in the district.
Engineers should do something. Engineering Institute of Zambia, I think, let's see them sort out these problems of drainage. Because it's year after year after year.
But the local authority says a number of interventions are being put in place to address the challenge of flooding in the district.
It is true that Kabwe is facing some challenges in regards to the matter concerning the drainage systems or flooding in Kabwe. What we want to do and what needs to happen in Kabwe, as a local authority, we have now begun the process of engaging RDA and the Ministry of Local Government in collaboration with the Council to actually sit down at a table and redesign the drainage systems and also roads in Kabwe. As you may be aware, currently Kabwe Municipal Council has engaged a company called Medim, which is actually helping us capture all the informal settlements in Kabwe and in a plight and efforts to upgrade these informal settlement areas.
It is hoped that with these interventions being put in place by the local authority, Kabwe will no longer experience this kind of flooding. These interventions will also help the district in its quest to attain city status. For ZNBC News in Kabwe, Central Province, I'm Kelvin Tembo.
We take our last break, and when we come back, we'll have sports news. Are the headlines once again. President Edgar Lungu says the HIV test and treatment program that was launched last year has started bearing fruit. President Lungu says the policy has been well received, resulting in more people knowing their HIV status and accessing medication. Government has banned imports of risk foods from South Africa, which include processed meats, vegetables and other dairy products. Minister of Health, Chitalu Chilufya, has announced at a media briefing in Lusaka today. The Road Development Agency says the completion of the Mwinilunga Jimbe Road in Northwestern Province is expected to boost trade in the SADC region. RDA Board Chairperson Samuel Mukupa says the Mwinilunga Jimbe Road is important because it connects Southern African countries and gives them an opportunity to trade amongst themselves. And the Under-17 cricket national team coach, Isaac Mwaba, has selected a 32-member preliminary team ahead of the 5 national regional tournament set for March 30th, 2018 in Ndola after holding trials in Lusaka and the Copper Belt. The Under-17 coach says he will announce the final 14-member team to represent Zambia after the final trials, where the Midlands team and Copper Belt will play each other for the 16 places in the national team. Well, that's the news on this channel for this hour. I'll be back though at 22 hours with a news brief. In the meantime, do enjoy your viewing. Good night.